right, you motherfucker. Are you ready to talk some Star Wars on episode 230 of TMG Cast? You must answer. Verbally.
I'm thinking
out loud.
over.
Well, you have to give me a yes or no, because I have to hit pause or move the fuck on.
Really? If I say no, you'll pause?
Yes.
Sweet.
Oh, come on.
Power.
What is it?
Oh, pure podcasting power. Triple
Which
P.
equals 0.
Yeah, no. Fine, do your Star Wars.
You don't want to talk about Star Wars?
This is Star Wars Tamagi.
Whatever. Oh, yeah. Wait, I agreed. I acceded to that.
You did.
I
You've
did.
accepted that Tamagi will live forever.
Well, till you have a kid, we can't record, but whatever. It's never going to work, and you know that. Which is why we have to talk
Tate
about
Mushu
Star Wars
Greedo.
now. What?
Tate Mushu Greedo.
Tate Mushu Greedo.
There it is, which stands for Greedo did not shoot first.
I should have known that, really. Well, do's a crispa Greedo. It amuses me that crispa means fried.
Of course it does. Wait, what are you saying?
That's the... why did you fry poor Greedo? In the extra scene in Docking Bay 94 when Jabba comes to visit.
I love not being you sometimes.
Yeah, well, everybody does. Okay, it's the Star Wars. It's the special Star Wars show. There has been so much Star Wars build-up. We have to take it all in one shot.
And a rather ridiculous amount of Star Wars comics.
Like you did on your wedding night. Anyway...
Oh, bitch got jokes? I'm gonna drop a hammer on your Wilford Brimley ass in a minute.
Okay, other side of the mountain.
It's my Falcon, goddammit! Fly, Falcon! Fly. I know nothing about other side. I've just assumed that it involves somebody freeing a fucking animal of some
I
kind.
have no fucking idea. I just figured...
Born free!
I just figured mountains, you're a mountain man.
The world's tiniest lumberjack. Dude, you know what's fucked up about that? Is somebody at work, like, the only way she remembers people is to give them nicknames.
Oh, no.
And she's like, oh, and I'm like...
I hate people like that. It's like, you know what? You're out in the social world. Remember a fucking name.
Whatever, but I'm like, you don't call me a nickname. She's like, yeah, but you have one. I'm like, what is it? She's like, lumber. Like, come on!
There is no one I know who is less lumberjacky than you.
Yeah, it's a weird, like... It's like, you know, people think I'm hipster because of the beard and the vest, and it's like I'm the least hipster guy. I like weird shit, but not like to a lifestyle choice. Yeah, I like vinyl, but I also like vinyl when no one gave a rat's ass about it, which is actually the most hipster thing you can say.
Yes.
So, fuck.
I was irritating and pretentious before irritating and pretentious was, in fact, irritating and pretentious. So, let's start with the flick. We got to talk about the flick.
Which I saw before you!
Don't rub it in.
What? No, come on.
Oh,
come on.
Why would you do that to me? But I've seen it 4 times at this point.
Are you fucking kidding?
No, not at all.
I've seen it once.
I went with Chris and Dalton.
Right.
And I went with my dad.
Right.
And I went again by myself.
Okay. And we still have to go, and we got to take Petey.
Oh, does he want to go?
He totally wants to see it again.
Oh, all right. Well, figure that out for the weekend or whatever. I mean, it's only Tuesday. We got time. Ooh, look at the titties.
Yes. Oh, this is our kids' Star Wars podcast. Don't mind us.
This is not the kids' cast. This has never been. We have made it clear that the 18 and under crowd are not welcome on this show.
We're watching some sort of zombie film called Wormwood. I can't tell you any more than that. It might be Australian.
Who knows? At any rate, the flick was, for lack of any more detailed and exuberant name, exciting.
It was awesome.
And amazing.
It is.
And awesome. And there wasn't anything I disliked about it. From, you got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend? All the way to, help me with the pain. Everything in between. Oh my God. where do you start?
It's a great film. There's a couple key points I just want to, like, first off, Disney had just enough, like, BB-8, the robot, is so insanely adorable. Like, do you remember when you were a kid and, like, people were like, R2-D2 is the most adorable thing, and you're like, dude, he's a trash can. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there were some people that just loved that robot, and, like, other people, like, just didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I was always on the other side. I'm like, dude, he beeps. He doesn't fucking talk. Like, it's like Lassie. I don't like that fucking dog either. I just don't get it. This robot was so the perfect side. Like, when Disney does everything right, it's BB-8. And when he sticks out the lighter for the thumbs up, and dude, literally somebody's like, oh, he gave him the finger. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you moron.
Who said that?
I don't remember. Somebody told me that. I'm like, you're so wrong. You're so wrong.
Although now that I think of it,
and totally a thumbs up. Finn throws it to him, and he does, like, it was so cute. Like, it was what you wanted it to be, and it did the unbelievably daunting job of making the best of the old and the best of the new simultaneously.
Yeah.
It made you remember the things you loved about the old films and forget things that you liked less about the newer films. It straddled that. And, you know, I know what everyone's saying with the whole plot being way too similar to the first one. And there's some real truth to that.
Yeah, but of course there is.
You couldn't break new ground and get the reaction that you wanted from everybody.
Yeah.
You had to like, J.J. Abrams had 55 fucking flaming balls of toxic gas in the air, and he pulled it off. And he did it in a way that makes it that much harder for everybody to do from here forward.
Yeah.
But you can, because this did it so well that you're looking forward to it again.
Right. And every single person with more than just a couple of minutes screen time had their own full and complete arc.
Dude, this is made up.
They kind of copped out on Leia. They didn't give Poe much to work with.
Yeah, but what he did do was magic. Like,
yes.
Oscar Isaac is probably the best actor, pure actor in the film. Although John Boyega and what is the girl?
Daisy Ridley.
I knew it was a name that you don't expect for the first name. Were both phenomenal. Like, the new people were phenomenal. Han Solo does what he does and steals the movie. Adam Driver, who I'm familiar with, and it's an excellent. I've never watched Girls because, like,
I didn't even know he was in it.
I have seen him in other things and really liked him. He's a very good actor, and he had a part that's so fucking hard. And when he pulls the helmet off and his hair comes out, I loved it because his hair was so 70s. It made him look so like Han Solo that it just worked on
That's
a level.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that, but that works.
Yeah, that's how I immediately took it. I'm like, oh, like, that's insanely stupid. But think about where we're coming from. The emotional point, and then the writing and the little things. Like, is it too close to others? Maybe. Are they pushing, like, everyone's related and all that? Because they're already talking about this person must know this one. Like, and for those of you who are like, oh, Finn must be Lando's son, you're assholes. Like,
I hadn't even read that. I didn't even consider that, and I hate that.
Yeah, why I said it. The Rey being related thing is entirely plausible. I can't argue some of the arguments made for that because they're valid.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. I read somewhere, like, it's Ben Kenobi's granddaughter.
Yeah, I read that one too.
You're a nutty jackass.
It's unnecessary. It seems plausible the way he played it out in that article, but I find it completely unnecessary.
Nothing about Ben Kenobi doing the dirty ever appeared anywhere close to being a logical progression.
But, he was in the desert 20 plus years. I mean, he wasn't home alone the entire time.
Yes, but she had a family that left her that she recognized.
Yeah, that's why
it's not like he just wandered off like Kane in Kung Fu. Like,
well, I mean, being his granddaughter, it wouldn't have to be anything.
Yes, it would, and I'm gonna totally disagree, and I think you'll understand why in a moment. Because there had to be a logical reason to leave the daughter behind.
Right, but that would be something that her family did, and it wouldn't necessitate any involvement with Obi-Wan at all. Because he was long dead by the time she was born.
Yeah, I mean, the timeline doesn't really work to begin with, but the other piece of it, though, is simply if she is his granddaughter.
Yeah.
What possible reason is for the family to run and abandon her?
Yeah, why would...
exactly. See what I'm saying?
Why would Snoke's forces give a flying fuck?
Exactly. It doesn't ding correctly at the key points. Yeah. You can do some clever math and make it kind of work.
Yeah.
But unless there's and obviously, we're talking about the insane shit they could fly anywhere out of, but so far it doesn't play out well.
Wow, these ones turn really fast in this zombie flick, huh?
This is not half bad so far for a B-level zombie flick, but I mean, I've said that before and regretted saying it, so.
There was a lot of tinier, subtler things that, they're not talked about, they're not mentioned, but they're very clear and very nice. Like Ren dropping his helmet in Vader's ashes when he's talking to Rey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very clear that they're Vader's ashes. Vader's helmet was nowhere to be seen. Nobody talks about it. So it's just, here's another sign of his dedication to Vader's ideals.
No, and of course the huge thing was fairly clear and whatnot. And as far as the Leia thing goes, I thought they did as much with her as they should.
Are people saying they wanted more?
Well, you were just saying she didn't have a huge part.
No, Leia.
Leia. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure that...
Well, being a general, she's probably not going to be... She shouldn't be allowed out in the front lines anymore.
That, plus, like, is Carrie Fisher going to... Like, action Carrie Fisher was never really believable, ever, if you think about it. She wasn't the... shoot them in the face character, and like, choking Jawa to death. And Carrie Fisher has become like the coolest fucking person ever. Like, did you see her take on the whole sexist slave Leia outfit?
Yeah.
What she said?
Uh-huh.
She's like, yes, somebody put me in that. I didn't like him, so I choked him to death, and then I changed. Mic drop! Fucking Princess Leia mic drop. What the hell? So goddamn good. Dude, this guy just wasted his whole family for being zombies. He's in a bad mood.
Yeah, he is. Look at that look on his face. But I was wondering how they would fit in the beginning, because there always has to be a planet at the beginning. There always has to be a ship approaching that planet. That's happened in every one of them. Oh no. Don't do it, dude. Oh. Oh no.
That's kind of awesome. Now, one thing they did I thought was both cool and fucked up is the Max von Sydow not being a key...
Max von Sydow?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I literally always thought it was the other.
There's no N in there.
Oh, no shit.
No.
Wow, it's funny what your head does sometimes, isn't it? But I thought, like, that was a clever way. It's kind of like the Scream thing. Like, you have this big name that everyone expects.
Right.
Like Drew Barrymore. You're like, oh, no, she's fucking tree.
And they just wanted him because they wanted somebody with a good voice and a good ability to play this part.
Well, not even necessarily that, but, like, it was super misleading, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you immediately think, like, oh,
I thought
Dooku
he was
too.
Yeah, exactly.
More doo-doo Dooku for you.
You lunatic. Oh, the battles were great. The picking up the Falcon for the first time was so exhilarating.
Now, did you find that you picked a lot of stuff? Because I haven't watched it the second time, and most people I talk to say when you watch it the second time, you pick up a lot of cool side things. Did you find that you noticed little details and whatnot in your multiple viewings?
I tried to find more, but I was paying so much attention as it was that I'm not sure what was really added.
Because, like, a buddy of mine pointed out, and like I said, I haven't seen it the second time, that when Finn uses the lightsaber, it's very shaky, and when Rey picks it up, it's a very clean blade, which I'm totally curious to see.
I did not notice that at all.
Now you're totally curious, though.
Yeah. I noticed that he was far less graceful with it.
Well, that was logical. But yeah, like, there was a lot of small logic points. It's a very well done film. And if you haven't seen it already, like, why the fuck are you listening to comic book podcasts? Like,
especially by the time this comes out.
Yeah, like fucking go
End
to
of
church,
February.
pick up chess. Like we're different. Like, not that you can't like comics and go to church or enjoy chess. Whatever. My point being, God, you non-talking uppity folk. All right, so now having followed the movie, so how many figures have you bought so far since the film?
Oh, well, see, that's the problem. The next wave of Black Series stuff hasn't come out yet. So I've had them all for quite some time. So.
Do you find, because of the black figures, you're not looking at the actual action figures anymore the same way?
Oh, no, I am. And they're crap.
They do seem to be kind of disappointing.
They've reverted all the way back to the, 5 articulation points.
That's so sad.
Shoulders, hips, head. That's it. And then they add this ridiculous armor thing to them, like they do with the fucking Batman figures. Like neon battle armor Batman. Yeah. It's like, he doesn't... Fuck you. Ray didn't wear no motherfucking armor.
Did you see the whole thing about Ray being left out of the Star Wars Monopoly?
Yeah, these people just don't make any kind of goddamn sense.
No, I actually am going to agree with that one. Like, she's the lead character, in a sense, of that film.
So,
like, if you're going to make a board game and base it on that, to ignore her as a figure is just... Like, you have to kind of justify a reason to do that.
No. I'm not saying the reaction is ridiculous. I'm
sorry.
I'm saying the manufacturers...
Okay, then yes, then we agree.
Yeah.
Because to me, like, if you can't find a fucking viable reason
to
put the lead character... Like,
it's her fucking flick.
Like, I don't really enjoy Indiana Jones games in which I play short round the entire fucking time. Like, that doesn't exist as far as I know, but it would piss me the fuck off. I love Sala, but, if I'm, like, sitting there for 2 hours on a video game going, I am the monarch of the sea, I'm probably not going to have as good a goddamn time.
A British tongue is a soaring soul, as free as a mountain bird. Anyway.
All right.
No, it doesn't make any kind of sense.
No, it's the worst thing about it is the only reason you can find for it is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, the best you come up with is I'm an inconsiderate asshole. Yeah. And the other end is I'm a sexist inconsiderate asshole. Yeah. It's a fucking if they should be fucking putting out, like, hey, you bought that game? Here's a Ray figure. Take your Constable Bob figure or whatever.
How does it make any kind of sense? They had no problem making a 6-inch Black Series figure of her. They're like, here she is, right there, boom. And there's a very limited run of the 3 3/4 figures. Very limited. There's almost nothing. There's less than 20 figures in that scale.
One of which is that constable that didn't even show up in the film. Well done.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But they put her in that scale too. No big deal.
Yep.
So there she is, twice, out in the open. It's her fucking flick. It just doesn't follow.
No, it's bad. It's like I said, at the very least, it's inexcusable. And it really isn't. Like, you can't. There's even like, they made a mistake. Like, you can't leave the major female character out. In general, you really can't do it when she's the lead fucking character.
When it's her fucking flick,
right? Like, it's so wrong. And then it's not like, we couldn't leave Finn out because he was the African American character. Like, now you're being an ass. I'm not suggesting you do that, but you can't say like, and we needed the robot because he's cute. Like, you can't make the fucking. It's a piece in a Monopoly game. The fact that I even have to have this conversation pisses me off all over again. It's a major fucking problem, and fix it. Like, the next one, put her in there. Somebody bought it and complains, mail them a fucking tiny Finn, reverse that Ray figure. You can move around the goddamn Monopoly board. And for the record, people, for those of you who don't know, I fucking hate Monopoly. I mean, I hate it. If I have to spend 8 hours to lose a board game, I fucking hate it. So for me to be debating the morals of Monopoly games, just livid. All right, bring me some comic books or I'd throw up.
This is the all Star Wars cast, so we have multiples of every comic book we get for Star Wars. So, let's go with all of the Landos we haven't talked about so far, which is 3, 4, and 5. Holy shitballs, that's a lot of books. So, what? Why are you pausing me? Oh, well. Good grief. What happens in 3? I don't even know.
Lobot just got injured.
Yeah.
Literally at the end of 2, which is why we had this whole fiasco. Because you brought me 4, and I opened it, and I'm like, what the hell?
All right, so they get injured, and the cat twins fight the ridiculous Emperor's Guard who have been just hanging out in a fucking closet this whole time.
Oh, to be fair, they take one of the helmets off, and it's made very clear that that's had some effects.
Oh, no, the whole I've been influenced by the dark side routine has really corrupted them really badly. So, during this whole time, Cheneth Cha, bounty hunter employed directly by the Emperor himself, is about to go intercept him while Lobot and the Ugnaught are talking about the Imperial Guards and the twins. And there's big fights, and there's a lot of talking and disagreeing, and bounty hunters, and blah, blah, blah. So Lando and the Ugnaught finally decide, you know what, I guess the twins might need a little help. So why don't we grab some blasters and open the door, and oh look, they didn't need any fucking help.
I love the fact that Lando's like, I don't like guns. Like, you know, this is a failed solution to a problem.
I'm a gambler and a swindler. We don't need guns.
You know, I'm just going to talk about these as a bulk, because the great thing about this book is the slow evolution. There's a couple of really cool things that happen.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things that happen. And now, who did this one? Who wrote this?
This is Charles Soule.
Okay. He does a couple things. First off, he's the first guy to make Sith corruption interesting, because the twins are corrupted almost immediately, and the Ugnaught, who turns out to be female, which I didn't see that coming.
Well, I mean, how can you? They're Ugnaughts.
But study something and immediately so Sith corruption is never before has that been well done, if you will. It's like, it's kind of like, you remember The Shining?
Yeah.
And you know why Stephen King hates the movie The Shining?
I don't remember. I remember reading that he did. I don't remember why.
It's because when he wrote the book, it was the idea of a good dad who got corrupted by the hotel and became a douchebag.
All right.
And when you watch the film, it's a creepy Jack Nicholson becoming creepier.
Ah, okay. I can see that.
Okay.
So the artifacts
all the
have this
Sith
effect on the
corruption.
twins.
Like, if you watch the prequels, Hayden Christensen doesn't come across like a sweet guy who gets ruined. He comes across like an anger-filled hate monger who gets worse, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So here
he wants to do good, but he's not really invested in it.
But here you have viable,
he wants what he wants.
People, and we don't know the darkness in their hearts or whatnot, but that's the cool thing. They just, all around all this Sith merchandise, they just turn, which makes me wonder about you and all that fucking Sith t-shirts you have sitting in here.
Don't worry, I won't kill you in your sleep.
And one day you might just wake up like, I feel like boiled brain today.
Not likely.
True. I mean, is it the most likely option? Probably not.
There's a lot of history in these Sith artifacts and theorizing going on. Corran wants to abandon the ship, but Lando can't leave Lobot, of course.
Right.
I wouldn't, and he wouldn't leave the stuff because dough.
Well, I think if Lobot were okay, he'd be more willing to, viably consider that. But there's a lot of options out there that he has to look deeper into. There's a lot of cool things in this book, like I was saying. The fact that the bounty hunter is a ex-female associate of Lobot's.
Of Lobot's, that's
is
right.
Awesome. Like, nobody saw that coming. It's like, oh, of course, fucking space pimp got somewhere. And then it's like, no,
I never did like you, Lando.
No, Lobot had something like
I don't
2
know why
points for
Lobot
that.
ever hung out with you. It was beyond my comprehension why anyone would associate with you.
And then the fact where Lando reveals that he's a crack shot, And he's just, but like, it's only a scam if everyone believes it.
Right.
And the only people who know otherwise are dead. And then the Lobot like, there's just so many cool things. Like, Charles Soule is such a good comic book writer. He hits the right notes at the right speed on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So of all the miniseries so far, Lando is pretty much the high point for me.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Although, we'll get to CHEWBACCA and we'll see how you think about that.
Oh, true. I mean, I'm always biased by, CHEWBACCA. But I love this book probably the most, like, of the, what have been miniseries? It's just been Leia, this one.
And CHEWBACCA.
And CHEWBACCA so far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Leia, unfortunately, to me, was the weakest Star Wars book to come out so far. Still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
This was right on par with the best of them. The excellent read, clever idea, well executed. Cat ninjas, Lobot antics.
Cat ninjas. Lobot takes control of the ship, and unfortunately, his implants take over his body. So although he can operate, he's not really in charge of himself anymore, which is kind of weird and kind of cool at the same time.
It also explains the more robotic Lobot that we find at Cloud City.
Because why would you design implants that could do that? That's the question.
You're assuming they were implanted intentionally and not something else didn't happen to Lobot that required them in them.
Yeah.
Or, you gamble. You again, like, Lobot was, like, he partnered with Lando.
Although
it might have been like, I'm going to do this because I get these skills out of it, and then I'm going to work my ass off and bet that the other thing won't happen to me.
Although, I wonder about that when we start reading the recording that Lobot leaves Lando, exhorting him to, you like that? Exhorting?
Yes. Be better.
Get out of the game and find a cause, which is an obvious allusion to the rebellion.
Right.
So, no, it's an absolutely enjoyable book. I was so happy with it.
No,
Chanath Cha turned out to be a decent character, too.
Yeah, dug everything. Just, the art was great. They captured the essence of Lando really well.
All right. You want to talk Shattered Empire 2 through 4 and get it over with? Or you want to go to
whatever
CHEWBACCA?
you're thinking. Yeah, either way. I assume you're saving the major books for the last?
Yeah, let's get Shattered Empire over with.
Okay.
It's 3 books, and it's all about wandering around and Shara Bey worrying about her husband.
It's my main problem with the book isn't so much the book itself, it's just that Greg Rucka wrote this. Like, it's so it's so considerate and polite to, like, I'm just so confused. It's basically the origin of Poe Dameron's family.
Yeah.
And their rebellion experiences.
Right. So we got a commando father who hung around with Han on Endor and went to go secure an entirely different bunker that had held out during the main battle. And they're like, well, we'll just have a sandwich and see how things shake loose. They go after them, beat them up. What's her face? Shara goes and hangs out with Luke for a little while, escorting saplings from the last Jedi temple to go to the new one, which is interesting. I like that. They go to the temple on Coruscant. The hitch, though, is that Shara's character is missing an eye. I don't know why that's a hitch, but it seemed important that be noted in there.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you slightly, because you think, like, to me, Jedi trees are exactly the kind of shit that we should be avoiding. Like, this is those big left veers that made for the completely confusing and bizarre expanded universe.
Well, no, if they were Jedi trees that expanded someone's awareness of the Force, that would be one thing. They're just plants that were there, and he wants to continue the history of the plants. It's like the white tree of Gondor. It doesn't mean shit, but it's just nice to have in the Mailu.
Perhaps. It was worrisome because, like, when you're, like, the level of work that they're doing on these books is so impressive, But the little things that you just let go. As much as I love giant green fucking rabbits, when you do those kind of things, you start to step away. And of course, when they did that, they had no idea. Just like the old school Whitman Star Trek comics could do any number of insane fucking things.
Because they thought that they were only ever going to be the only game in town.
Exactly.
No, but you figure, I mean, I took it as Luke has no physical, I don't want to say mementos, but no physical reminders or aspects of the old order except these two saplings.
Right.
So,
okay, from that perspective,
as a sense of continuity for himself, he would like to have those things in places that will be important to new Jedi.
Okay, all right. From that perspective, I see where you're going. It reminded me immediately of the Timothy Zahn, like the friggin' Force-free animals that block the Force around them.
Yeah, I was desperately hoping that wouldn't be some kind of parallel there.
Right. So, and that kind of thing where like with the Force is on everything except fucking killer cat things.
Well, salamanderish things.
Oh, what? It's been a long time. But I stand to your superior Star Wars knowledge.
Whose, claws grow into the trees, so you have to take the trees with them if you want the animals. Whatever.
I hate you.
During all this, over on the ISD Torment, which, for those in the know, is Imperial Star Destroyer, Captain Duvat receives an emissary from the Emperor. What? Isn't the Emperor dead? Orders to execute Operation Cinder.
Well, this seems to be a post-death plan kind
yes,
of thing.
that's totally burning earth, scorched earth. It's totally a scorched earth,
No.
salt the fields kind of thing. I can't have it. Nobody's going to fucking have it. So, Shara gets in a fight with an AT-AT. They liberate Kawa City with a bombing run from Y-Wings. She's worried about her husband, who's still over there with Solo's team. And 3PO's got to decrypt stuff over there. Operation Cinder is happening in force on Naboo. Leia, for some god-awful reason, has a flash force memory of Maul, which I didn't get. I was like, why? What? Why?
No, that was a tad confusing.
Yeah. 3PO uncovers the Cinder plot, and the Queen joins Shara and Leia attacking the weather satellites. So, it's like, let's just put people in a starfighter and have them go up against desperate odds to save the planet. Oh, wait, here's a fleet. That's what happened.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. Operation Cinder was pretty interesting, though, is for what they did to Naboo. They set up a tremendous number of satellites to control the other weather satellites, or some signals that would control the weather satellites, or some shit. And they were just like, well, typhoons will do. And they just tried to wipe them out. And so, Leia and the Queen and Leia's pilot Shara or whatever, they go and they're like, well, we'll distract the TIE fighters while Leia goes and gets the satellites. Well, we'll never get them all. Well, we got to try. Oh, look, a fleet. Great. So fine. It was okay.
It was totally fine. It was once again. To me, like, all right, fair enough. This probably replaced Leia on the lower end of it. But, I mean, think of how incredibly challenging this was to do, to try to, like, bridge everything into the new movie without giving anything away.
Well, that's the hard part, really. I mean, he was pretty much allowed to do. And like you said, the only thing that really happened here that really matters to the new movie is the Damerons.
Yeah, otherwise it's a throwaway story.
Yeah.
You gain nothing from it per se. One thing I will point out...
Although it does allow us to understand how the Imperial Remnant existed to begin with to become the First Order.
Fair enough. One thing I do find that I'm missing, as reading this, what it really brought home is, where is my comic book adaptation?
Yeah, they haven't made one, have they?
Yeah, see?
That's unusual and weird. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, Perhaps they were waiting to make sure they didn't spoil the movie.
Well,
anyway.
that could be, especially since they released fucking Jedi weeks early by mistake.
I recall that, but think about that. Like that should have been in like the current by now.
Yeah.
Weird, right?
Yeah. Huh. Now I'm angry.
Well, Chewbacca will calm you down.
Ah, well, okay, great. So we have Chewbacca.
What a Wookiee!
1 and 2. Jeff Duggan or John Duggan or Duggan. I don't remember the guy's name.
Jerry
Duggan.
Dugan.
There's 2 G's. Duggan. Dugan would be 1.
How do you figure?
Because there's nothing to stop the... Never mind.
I'm so ready to hit you with something.
And the wonderful Phil Noto.
You know what?
I love Phil Noto.
And I know you love Phil Noto, but the thing I found interesting was I did not know, like, Phil Noto is not a guy that makes me think, oh, Chewbacca, but killed it.
Yes, right on, right?
You know, but I mean, you think about his style, you're not like a giant furry monster dude.
Nah, that's not him.
Exactly. But killed it.
Totally crushed. So, there's new characters. There's Zaro and her father are indentured to Jaum, who works people in mines harvesting chemicals produced by larvae. What? Okay, whatever, fine. We've read weirder things. Her dad...
Mining slaves. That's all you really need
Yeah,
here.
pretty much. Her dad arranges for her escape in a cart of these larvae, but eventually Chewie's on a mission but has crashed his A-Wing on Zaro's planet. Now, the funny thing about this is fitting Chewie into an A-Wing. That doesn't fucking work. I like when I saw him standing next to the smoking remains of an A-Wing.
Well, that's why. Like his
The
head
first
popped
thing
out and he
was,
like,
I
had to
was
crash.
like, is he steering the fucker with his knees? How is he doing?
Well, Chewbacca has a long and storied career about removing things from starships that he doesn't need. So he probably just gouged out the bottom of it and flew off. Like, brakes? We don't need no stinking brakes.
He can't buy a part that he needs to fix the A-Wing, so he goes to gamble. And, you know, what else do? You don't get a job. You ain't got time for that shit.
See, that's a stupid... Like, what kind of dumb motherfucker is like, yes, I will bet against you, Wookiee, because if I win, that'll totally go well.
Well...
That's an insane plan.
It's true. Somewhere along the line, Zaro got caught by the parts dealer, and she has to escape from him. So she hides under Chewie's table in the casino, which amused me. There's several pages of pleading as Chewie eventually agrees to help Zaro free her dad from Jaum. Jaum makes a deal with the Empire, though.
Well, sure.
'Cause everybody's making a deal with the damn Empire.
Well, you know,
So-
they need as many power slugs as possible, or
Well,
whatever
sure.
the fuck, whatever nasty weirdness they're digging out of the fucking ground.
Zaro and Chewie stake out the mines and decide that Zaro needs to get captured to set up a GPS for Chewie to sneak in with. Chewie remembers his own slave days, of course, so he's very sympathetic to the whole plight of the larva miner.
Now, have they ever really delved into Chewbacca's slave days and anything?
No, not really, because it was just Empire slavery. It was just like, right, you guys are tough, so you're going to make shit for us. So, I mean...
Yeah, I'd see that would be a miniseries I'd like to see, like, you know, how Han met Chewie kind of thing.
You know, I've thought about that many times, but that's rough. Because if they make it dumb, or they do it poorly... You know,
it's not going to matter.
It
in the
hurts
slightest.
the mystique. It doesn't ruin it by any stretch.
It doesn't, and I'll show you how I know it doesn't. Because again, I trust you, and I know that you know more about Star Wars than I do. But Han Solo at Star's End didn't ruin a goddamn thing.
Certainly not. And I didn't say ruin. I said hurt.
But it didn't hurt anything. You know what I mean? Because particularly back then.
Well, that's all you had. So
exactly.
You were glad
and
for it.
If you didn't have anything better than that to gauge against it, and you still didn't bother you in the slightest, Now, when there's all this quality work out there, you're not looking at that like, well, this affected it. You're like, okay, well, you told a crappy comic book story there, Bob. Well done. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the tack that I have taken, and I try consciously to take now, is not to let crappy details of side works like that ruin things and taint things.
Right. You also have to figure...
They had an adventure where they had to break people out of prison. Boom.
You also have to figure, though, they are talking about a young Han Solo movie, so you have to assume that'll get played out.
Do you really have to dredge up the memory of a character called Pluvo 2-for-1? No, you don't. It doesn't matter in the least to the overall anything.
I can't believe you can pull that out of your ass. Like, what is wrong with you?
You can look it up.
I don't want to. Which book is that from?
Star's End.
Oh, God damn it.
You don't need to know. All you need to know is that Chewie gets abducted, and Han has to go get him, and that's why Han Solo is taking revenge. You don't need to know that in the beginning of the book, they were scamming a bunch of little furry guys, showing them travelogues of other planets, and calling it, entertainment. You don't. It doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about that. You can just move forward and say they had another adventure. So, while there are some things that I am just as happy leaving alone.
Fair enough.
So, anyway, finishing off episode 2. Issue 2. Issue 2. Sorry about that. He remembers his slave days. Jaum tells Dad that he's selling out to the Empire, killing a worker, setting up chaos to allow Chewie to attack. They cannibalize a power droid to get outside, but Jaum's henchman shoots Chewie and the droid.
I thought they did a couple things really well here.
Yeah.
The ability to make Chewbacca warm and likable despite the complete lack of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And the frustrated Chewie climbing through vents.
Yes.
Was so like it was like Peter Boyle, Young Frankenstein big. Like, come on, like grrr. So I thought they nailed some stuff really well in this.
That amuses me.
It's a particularly well done little light book. I think the lack of dialogue in Chewbacca is going to keep it from toppling Lando and the high points of that.
Oh, I can see that.
But I really did enjoy the shit out of it.
Good. I'm glad of that. So, that leaves us 3 whole books and we can go home. Well, you can go to bed, I can go home. We'll go with Star Wars 10 first. How about that?
All right, what do you got?
Han, Leia, and Sana escape the Imperials while Chewie and 3PO arrive on Nar Shaddaa. Some criminal droids try to take 3PO, but Chewie just, rips their arms off. As they do. As he would. As Wookiees are known for. Luke is put in a gladiatorial arena against the saber wielder, who tells him the temple is now the palace, noting that they have holocrons to use. Chewie tears up a bar looking for Luke. Gracchus has a rancor in store. It actually turns out it's not a rancor. When I was writing this, I thought it was a rancor. It's some other bizarro giant ass nasty creature.
They have a few out there.
Oh yeah, there's a couple. Leia finds out Luke is in trouble and negotiates with Sama to go help. Sana Solo, the wife.
Yes,
right.
So to speak.
Yeah, okay. A Gungan takes the info of having seen Chewie to Dengar, of all fucking people.
Dude, that is one of... First off...
Really? Dengar?
Small but key point. One of the best looking Dengars ever.
Yeah, it's really easy to just make him look like a fat schmo that can't get anything accomplished.
They kind of killed that picture, though, at the end of that page.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, no, if you take out the Gungan mercenary, which just drove me insane, with, come on! Literally dripping come on all over me.
They can't be all hits, man.
I hate Gungans. Which is obviously their point. But no, like, just, we know it was a fiasco. We don't need fucking, like, lame ones. Like, just leave them alone. Let them fucking run around on their stupid half-water planet being morons.
Your disdain is showing.
Oh, yeah. Done. But the book is just so good on so many levels. It's hitting each character at key points. And it's starting to bring things together. Like, it's expanding upon the Han and Leia relationship. It's showing how Luke turned into a fucking sword-fighting master overnight with no help.
Which was a sticking point for a lot of people for many years. It's like, well, it's holocrons. Okay, good. That's how we figured it out. Which I'm totally fine with, even though they only figured out holocrons like 15 years ago.
But it just, I don't have words. Like, at the best of the Marvel Star Wars, it was this, but there was also a lot of shit that, like, they've learned not to roll out. You know what I mean? Like, the high points of the Star Wars Marvel are probably in the first 30 to 40 issues, when they were still killing it, before Empire, when things got darker and they started veering in some weird ways because they didn't have Han and they didn't,
right.
You know, when the whole universe was new and you could do whatever you wanted. So their ability to do both of those well, to expand and still maintain a certain level of success, is super impressive.
Right. It totally is.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's not even. I'm not always funny, people. Like, come on now. Sometimes I have points. Yeah, dropping knowledge on you from a Star Wars perspective. No.
dropping science. Fantasy. Science fantasy.
Hi, kids. This is Dr. T.O. Morrow with today's Star Wars comic book science moment. Kids, I fucking love Star Wars! This has been Dr. T.O. Morrow with today's Star Wars comic book science moment.
Wow. You know, I like that Luke is going up against things that he can't control, and he thought he was going to be okay and he might be able to intimidate people with a lightsaber, and the entire population of Nar Shaddaa is like, so?
But dude, that's all we have. I bought fucking steaks with a lightsaber yesterday. No, it's a damn good book. It's hitting each character at so many strong points, and the art is impressive as hell. The writing is great.
Yeah.
Like, just so
I like
good.
they could get through a few issues without Vader running around. You know, there's bound to be adventures that didn't strictly have anything to do with fighting the Empire. They were there around for years trying to get things accomplished.
Particularly since they're doing such a strong Vader book on the side, to make him the key point in both. They've already
pushing it a little bit,
and not Marvel and not comic books. They've already failed Vader in so many ways as a character. So many little overuses or poor uses. Like, oh, he's the coolest villain since fucking Dracula. Let's screw him up as much as possible. You want to talk about Darth Vader and the Lost Command again?
No. I don't want to talk about Darth Vader and the Ghost Prison either. So, yeah. Although Purge, I still like the Purge books.
I don't believe I've read those.
With the Purge books. Those were a bunch of one-shots. So anyway, having established that Star Wars 10 is the most amazing thing since sliced fucking bread, let's go over to Darth Vader 10 and 11 and kill this episode.
Yeah, done.
So, in 10, Thanoth, his little supervisor / double-crosser / inspector, and Vader find the dragon. Vader killing the dragon before Thanoth can know he had any info. Smart man. Thanoth cracks the dragon's safe, which was a bit of a tense kind of thing, because he's like, well, if I do it wrong, we all die, and the evidence goes bye-bye. So, alright, Mr. Handlebar, Mustache, and Monocle, let's fucking see you do it.
No, that's a Burnside, man.
Whatever. It's all the same. Aphra and the droids find the Naboo mortician, who is kind of a badass. I appreciated that character. 000 tortures him to confirm Luke's existence, and they kill him. Because nobody really knows about Leia. They knew Luke. They knew there was a guy running around named Skywalker. They had to make sure that it was, in fact, Padme's son. Because she was buried with a baby bump. So they had to make sure that that baby bump was fake. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, Aphra brings this info to Vader. But at this point, Vader doesn't know that Thanos is actually onto him. So, having established that, Aphra meets with the Auntie, which is just, really, guys? So, who has just discovered, who has been discovered as important by Thanos the Inspector. Oh, so there's this guy named the Auntie we ought to see, eh? Let's go. So, he orders a mission to go see the Auntie. Aphra has just gotten Luke's location from the Auntie when the imps arrive, and 000 and BT are playing chess when the imps appear. BT blowing away a cheater is taken as an attack.
No, he doesn't blow him away. He basically...
He what?
He starts a fight with the Empire that causes all of the chess players to get shot so that his cheater gets murdered.
Ah, okay.
It's even more fucked up than that. Like, I'm sorry, the best thing in these books might be these fucking evil-ass droids. Like, holy shit. Well, because...
I think Aphra's a fine character.
I actually really like Aphra, but one of the things that Star Wars has never done well is you've had these droid villain characters like IG-88, and they've never done any, like, you've only ever seen positive or lame droids.
Right. You've never seen droids that are programmed to do anything but be helpful.
Right, like the closest would have been...
Or innocuous at best.
Right. The closest one would have been the freaking droid that worked for Jabba, like, oh yeah, you guys work for,
The torture droid.
Right.
So and those kind of things
and even
existed.
then, that was only anti-droid.
Yeah.
So, like, this fucking full-on torturer droid, and like, oh, I'm a protocol dick droid. Just so, like, so the droids are so fucking evil.
They're literally got one-track minds. It's like, blow shit up, torture a motherfucker.
Like, why am I not killing this guy right now? Please explain that to me, Aphra. Which is just awesome. Like, the droids are beyond cool. And then not even the highlight. The highlight is probably the simple fact that Vader needs to kill a guy without drawing attention to it. So he force moves a blast to blow his fucking chest up.
Yeah, that was great.
Genius. Never seen that done before.
But then Vader facilitates Aphra's escape, having backed off once she notes that she has Luke's location. It's all setting up Vader down. This is all steering us straight to Vader down.
Now, I haven't read Vader Down yet. Were you a big fan?
I'm digging the fuck out of it.
All right, very cool. Like, the Star Wars books are just highlights of the whole comic month at this point.
I love that, although we've complained loudly before that Vader has often been treated as an incompetent by the Emperor, while Thanos the Inspector is there because of that, Vader is not allowing himself to be Thanos' bitch.
I'm so excited. Like, the quality of these books makes me wish for other things. Like, they're about to do the Kenobi and Anakin books.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody, like, the level of talent that they're doing on this. I want a 5-issue Dooku miniseries. Like, that's a character that could have been badass.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. And when they eventually do the Boba Fett thing and try and salvage that character, and I do mean salvage, people. I 100% mean salvage. Yeah, like, hashtag save Boba Fett. Hashtag Gungans suck.
I love the little byplay. Thanos knows that Vader knows why he's there. but for form's sake and for evidence's sake, he's got to play the game. Both of them have to play the game off each other.
Yep.
Thanos is not a fucking idiot.
No,
Vader covers himself so effectively, Thanos had no choice but to go ahead with it until Vader fucks up.
The thing is, Thanos has to be super careful, and they're doing, like, the character is really interesting, because he suspects Vader's involved. He can't know because there's no evidence.
Right.
So he has to build a case against a guy that can kill him at any point, while at the same time staying, like, think of how easy it'd be to be, like, petulant, like, oh, Vader, you... So it's a cool little cat and mouse thing, and like if you go through all the Darth Vader comics so far, there's nothing but cat and mouse and tiny little plans moving in different ways. Like the Aphra plan to get the money made no sense till the end of it, and you're reading it like, what the hell is this? Like, oh my god! Just so much awesomeness in this fucking book. Is Darth Vader actually better than Star Wars, the comic?
Oh, certainly.
Really? Because
it's so much more deep.
Okay.
There's so many. Well, okay, all right. That's actually, you think about it for more than a couple of seconds, it's actually difficult to answer.
They're two completely different style books.
I like the caperish nature of Darth Vader. And I like the character and the adventure of Star Wars. Purely on an execution level, I do think Darth Vader is a tad better.
Now, do you think part of that's because I kind of agree, but again, I'm also a very big caper guy. But do you think part of it from your perspective? Yeah. I'm very carefully detailing this question to you because this has been a huge fucking point of yours for years. Is that it's reclaiming the awesomeness of a character that's so badly been done.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
There have been other awesome Star Wars books.
This is a much more interesting Vader than has been in comics since forever.
Right. Like, you like some of the Purge ones, but are they even remotely close?
No.
And they certainly don't make up for the level of... There have been a lot of cool Star Wars things here or there.
Yeah.
There have been cool Han Solo stories. There have been cool, but there haven't been a ton of great Vader moments till this series.
Right. And it's serving to not make him more human as the leader of a book would be. And like they're doing with Harley Quinn. She's a fucking villain. She's killed people. But since she got her own book, she gets to be the funny, happy-go-lucky character.
It's what you addressed
They kind of redeem her a little bit just to get her into her own book without saying, here's a killer with their own fucking book.
No, the closest thing to it would be Sinestro.
Yeah.
And even with that, Darth Vader's done much darker than Sinestro is.
Yeah.
And Sinestro's a douche nozzle.
Well, I mean, he really just wants order. If everybody would just shut the fuck up and did what he said, Sinestro would not kill anybody. Vader, on the other hand, he always has to kill somebody to make a point. He said, look, I said I was in charge. Here's why I'm in charge. Slice.
No, it's a phenomenal book, and I have nothing but positive things to say about it. Like, love Star Wars, love Vader, love CHEWBACCA, love Lando, tolerate Shattered Empire.
And on that incredibly positive note, we're going to call our all Star Wars episode even. Say goodnight, Gracie. Yub.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. Find us on Facebook, Stitcher, Twitter under @TheMeanerGeek. Subscribe to us through RSS.
Or we can be located at our own site, www.themeangeek.com. And most importantly of all, you can find us as a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network.
Email us directly at themeanergeek@gmail.com.
Can I drink now?
You may.